allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City of Romulus City Council regular meeting for Monday, July 6, 2015. The roll will show that all members are present with the exception of Councilwoman Abdo and Councilwoman Mikowski.
Excused.
Noted. Tonight's regular council meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, agenda, 2, minutes, 3, petitioner, 4, chairperson's report, 5, mayor's report, 6A, clerk's report, 6B, treasurer's report, 7, public comment, 8, unfinished business, 9, new business, 10, communication, number 11, adjournment, and a motion would be in order to accept the regular council meeting agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Mr. Wadsworth for approval of the agenda as presented. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth? Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Agenda approved.
Number 2, minutes, line item 2A, request approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held on June 22nd, 2015.
So move for approval of the minutes for the regular meeting, June 22nd, 2015.
Support that.
It's a motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choate, for the approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held June the 22nd, 2015. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Abstain.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Line item 2B, approval of the minutes from the special meetings held on Monday, June 22nd at 6:45. This was an executive advisory commission appointment to the BZA, and then there was a study session at 7:00 p.m., and this was to discuss the City of Romulus fee schedule.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion for approval of the special meetings on June 22nd, 2015 for the Executive Advisory Commission and for the study session for the City of Romulus fee schedule.
I'll support that.
Been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choate, for the approval of the minutes from the special meetings held on Monday, June the 22nd, 2015 at 6:45, Executive Advisory Commission appointment to the BZA at 7 p.m. study session to discuss the City of Romulus fee schedule. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Abstain.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
There are no petitioners on the agenda. Number 4 is the chairperson's report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Earlier at 6 p.m., we had a study session to discuss the establishment of the PA 198 Plant Rehab District for Middlebelt Road and Brownsville Redevelopment Authority for the bylaws and appointment of new board members. I hope everyone had a nice 4th of July, a safe 4th of July, and really enjoyed the nice food and playing with your kids and relatives and just having a good time. With that, Madam Clerk, I concludes the chairman's report.
Support.
I got support from Mr. Kraut.
I'll make the motion to approve that.
Motion by Ms. Choate, support by Mr. Kraut to accept the chairperson's report. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved. Thank you.
Number 5 is the mayor's report.
Good evening, council, clerk, deputy clerk, and audience. Tonight, this quote, as Ronald Reagan ties into the 4th of July theme, and it goes as this: freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We don't pass it on to our children into their bloodstream. It must be fought and protected for and held up to them to do the same. And so the message is, it's not about, yes, it's about fireworks and family and food, but the freedom that we have to be able to celebrate on 4th of July, we can't, forget to teach the younger generations that a lot of people fought and died so we can have those freedoms. So thank someone who served so that we have those opportunities. We had great Fireworks here in the city of Romulus again. I want to give out a couple thank yous. Thank you to the Rotary Club, Rotary Foundation, for helping us coordinate that. A lot of people behind the scenes that were involved in it. I know Maria Lambert worked hard with the Rotary team. But we had a lot of people it was a busy day of work for them. We had the police department I want to thank, the fire department I want to thank, DPW crews that we had out working to block streets and ensure safety, and also thank you to the schools, obviously, for allowing our residents to have a great viewing area at the middle school and Wick Elementary. So a great time had by all. Happy 4th of July, and thanks to all those who made it a success. Just a quick reminder, we're not going to do the PSA, but waste management, as of today, started with the new containers. So please make sure you, if you want to see the PSA, it's still online, it's on Facebook. Make sure they're using the proper containers. Through the month of July, you'll have the opportunity to change those up as we talked about before. Big day coming up later this week. I wanted to give a shout out to Councilman Harry Kraut. His birthday's on the 9th. Happy birthday, Harry.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Birthday.
And then a couple things that we've already kind of gotten the resolutions from council, but I wanted to at least ask to formally adopt a couple memorial resolutions if we could. And the first one is for retired Sergeant Mike Smith, who retired from our police department, served as a IT support type person, and unfortunately passed with his battle with cancer, has a wife and daughter, and I graduated with Mike from high school, and just a great guy all the way around. But if we could get a resolution officially recognizing his passing, that would be great.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Roscoe?
I'll make that motion for resolution for Mike Smith.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, resolution, memorial resolution for Mr. Mike Smith. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you, council, and just if you could keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. The next one, we lost a retired fire department employee and a current police, fire, and safety commissioner, which was Donald Schmidt, who passed suddenly last week as well. We've had way too many funerals, but Don was a guy that served his community very proudly, and again, if we could get an official resolution for his family.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut, for memorial resolution for Mr. Donald Smith. Mr. Wadsworth?
I'd like to expand on that a little bit if I could also. I was quite shocked to hear about Don's passing about a week ago. I first met him in 1971 when he moved into Oak Brook. I moved in there in 67. I not only worked with him at the airport when he worked with Delta, and I worked with the Sheriff's Department. During the, from 69 to the end of, or almost 1982, when I was working with the sheriffs in his town, he was on the volunteer fire department. I worked at many scenes with him. We go all the way back to Merriman School, and our wives worked there in the PTA, and all our kids went there. I knew him for many, many years, and you couldn't always agree with Don Schmidt, but I tell you, he was a man that had Romulus at heart. It's very sad to see him pass at such a very young age. I remember working with him over the years, both in the city, in the airport, and he definitely had this town at heart, and it's very sad that he's gone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wadsworth. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Yes, also, yes.
Thank you, council, and also please keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. Also, a bit of praise should go to our honor guard who served. They've been busy, both of those funerals, and it was a very fitting, nice send-off for those who have served our community so proudly. One last memorial resolution, and this request came through Tanya Cofield, who works in my office, handles recreation and parks and so forth. Again, young man, this was a youth pastor at the Romulus Community Baptist Church. I'd like to ask for a memorial resolution for the Reverend Cortez Ezekiel Pittman, please.
So moved.
Support.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for memorial resolution for, what was the, pronounced?
Cortez Ezekiel Pittman.
Cortez Ezekiel Pittman. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you very much, council. I know this one was near and dear to Tanya. She spoke very highly of him and thought he was loved by all in his community and was a real shocker. Just had a son graduate this year from a class of 2015 from high school, so but these resolutions do make a difference, and thank you, Barb, for all your hard work you put into them, because there's a lot of families that are very much touched by the words and the signatures that are there, so.
Mr. Wadsworth, did you have something?
Mayor, if I may, we've got one more to make, and it's my neighbor on Barth Road, Fred Sonchuk, who passed away, I believe, on June the 26th or 27th. He was 80 years old. He was a lifelong resident of Barth Road. He was preceded in death by Nancy, his wife. I know his sons went to Romulus schools, and the Sonchuk name goes deep in the roots of the city of Romulus, and he was 80 years old, and he passed away about a week ago.
Support.
Been motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut, for memorial resolution for Mr. Fred Salchuk. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council. Just a couple action items in my report tonight, short and sweet. First one really is just a request for a no-fee permit for Elmer Johnson Park. The Romulus High School class of 1979 would like to have Saturday, August 29th, as a day for their park / I guess, reunion get-together.
So move for a no-fee permit for Elmer Johnson Park for the class of 79. I believe that's the year I graduated.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe, to authorize a no-fee permit for the use of Irma Johnson Park by the Romulus class of 1979 on Saturday, August the 29th, 2015. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you, council. Next up, 5B, there's actually two motions required. The first one is just to approve the attached resolution to amend Articles of Incorporation for the Downriver Utility Authority. It's adding Lincoln Park to part of that.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion
Okay, Ms.
to
Roscoe?
approve the attached resolution to amend the Articles of Incorporation for the Downriver Utility Authority to add the city of Lincoln Park.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choate, to approve the attached resolution to amend the Articles of Incorporation for the Downriver Utility Authority to add the city of Lincoln Park. Any discussion? Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council. And the second additional approval I'm looking for is really just for the representatives for the Joint Management Committee. And this is a group that's going to be working with Wayne County and other participants. And the two names that we see here listed are Roberto Scapitici and Keith Bach will be serving as the City of Romulus representatives on that committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate?
I'll make the resolution that we adopt a resolution to continue the Joint Management Committee with Wayne County and other participating communities, and that the resolution is naming Roberto Scapitici and Keith Block as serving as representatives for the city of Romulus.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Choate, supported by Ms. Roscoe, to approve the attached resolution to continue the Joint Management Committee with Wayne County and other participating communities. The resolution is naming Roberto Scapitici and Keith Bach serving as representative for the city of Romulus. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth? Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council, and that concludes my report.
Thank you.
6A is the clerk's report. I'd just like to echo everyone else's sentiment with regards to those memorial resolutions to the Schmidt family and the Smith family. And also, I hope everyone had a nice 4th of July. It was great weather, and looks like there was a lot of fun happening out there. Under the clerk's report, I have 3 items. Under 6A1, for second reading and final adoption, is Budget Amendment 1415-23, General Fund. This is to reallocate funds for the changes in health care coverage during the budget year. This budget amendment was introduced at the council meeting of June 22nd, 2015.
Mr. Chair,
Roscoe.
I'll make a motion for second reading, final adoption of Budget Amendment 14/15-23, General Fund.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choate, for second reading, final adoption of a budget amendment 1415-23, General Fund. In discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you. Under 6A2 for second reading and final adoption is Budget Amendment 1415-24, General Fund. This is to reflect the additional interest earned revenue and additional bank fee expenses that both exceed the original budgeted amounts. This has no effect on fund balance, and this budget amendment was introduced at the council meeting of June 22nd, 2015.
So move for second reading and final adoption of Budget Amendment 14/15-24 from the general fund.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for second reading, final adoption of a budget amendment 14/15-24, General Fund. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
And the last item under the clerk's report is 6A3. This is another second reading and final adoption of Budget Amendment 1415-25, General Fund. And this was to recognize the state's reimbursement for the May special election used to cover the additional costs associated with the election. This has no effect on the fund balance, and this budget amendment was introduced at the council meeting of June 22nd, 2015.
Mr. Chairman, I'll
Yes,
make
Ms.
a
Choate.
motion that we grant second reading and final adoption of the Budget Amendment 14/15-25 for the general fund. And that is in the amount of $17,700 that the state reimbursed us for the May election.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Choate, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for second reading, final adoption of a budget amendment 14/15-25, the general fund. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you. 6B is the treasurer's report. Our city treasurer is on vacation this week, spending time with her family, and just asked to be excused during this council meeting. Number 7 is public comment, and this is a portion of our meeting set aside for those in the audience. If you would like to have comments, raise your hand. After being acknowledged by our chairperson, approach the podium, state your name and your address, and we ask that you please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We do not have any written requests.
Comments from the audience, Ms. Walker? Good evening.
Use the microphone.
Use the mic, Ms. Walker.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what I'm here about is, I just got my tax bill. And I always go through my tax bill to find out what I'm paying and who I'm paying it to. And I talked with the county, I see we got the, retirement levy put on us. But they have a Public Act 359, promotions. And I asked the treasurer's office, and they said that the council had voted this in. It was something that didn't have to go to the voters. And I just wanted to find out what it was. It's Public Act 359. I looked it up on my computer, and I found 2 public acts. One of them was for noxious weeds, and the other one was for the creation of a township. So I don't think either one of those would apply. What is that for?
I can answer that.
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
I mean, if, I don't know the number, if that, what, there's a promotion, what was approved in part of the budget, we did the general appropriations, there was a promotion tax, it was a law that was in place since 1925, and I think it caps out at 50,000 for the community, and that goes towards basically promotion of your community. So there was no, vote of the people or anything that came into that. That was part of the assessment that came to council as part of the budget. So we did talk about that in the budget, kind of similar like sanitation is part of it, and library and so forth. Those all came to council, and it's basically a law that a lot of communities use to help use for just that, promoting the community. So that's where it came from. I don't know if I can tell you if it's 359 or not. I don't know off the top of my head, but I can find out what the Public Act is. But
Okay,
that is
'cause
correct.
I looked, and the two that came up.
It may not be
state.
that number, but there is a public act. It was in the 1920s that a lot of communities used to do just that as a promotion piece to tell people what's going on with their community and so forth. So similar, and it is part of the tax bill, just like sanitation or anything else. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
You're welcome.
just wondering.
Okay. Any other comments from the audience? Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll close the part out.
8 is unfinished business. 9 is new business.
Mr. Barton.
Yes, Mr.
I
Wadsworth.
could just real quick to Mayor Burkroff. I didn't make the last meeting, but the mayor made reference to my wife and I being married 48 years, and we appreciate your quote and your comment. Thank you. Okay.
If there's no more new business, number 10 is communication.
It's Ms. Roscoe.
I have one tonight, and it's in regards to the bottle cap collection. I don't know if you haven't heard about it, the Rotary is sponsoring a they're collecting bottle caps for a world record that, and at the Pumpkin Festival, they're going to chain together all these bottle caps and have the longest bottle cap line ever. And currently, they want 100,000 bottle caps, and currently, they're pretty close. They sent me a picture today, and they have boxes and boxes and boxes. Everyone under the sun is collecting bottle caps, like from your water bottles, milk caps, so on and so forth. Anything that isn't alcohol-related is accepted. And on September 19th at the Pumpkin Festival, they're going to try to break the world record. There is a Facebook page, and it's called Plastic Cap Chain World Record Attempt. And you can get more information as to where you can drop those bottle caps off, or they'll come get them if you want to start saving them if you're not already doing that. Also, you can drop them off at the Romulus Library, or you can drop them off at Romulus Hardware downtown. And they're pretty excited about it. And the other thing is when they're all done with these bottle caps, they're going to take and recycle them. They've got a company who will take and melt them down and make benches out of them. And then they're going to figure out what schools. There's a few of the schools in the community in Romulus here that have kind of got a contest going as to how many bottle caps they're going to donate. And so they'll figure out where the benches are going to go after they melt them down and recycle them. So I think that's kind of cool. You know, they're not just going to pitch all these bottle caps out. So, like I said, if you want more information, if you're not already collecting them, every little bag helps, and they plan on breaking this record at the Pumpkin Festival.
Okay. Thank you,
Mr.
Ms. Yeah, Mr. Kraut.
If you're having a birthday in July, I want to say happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Is there any more communication? Number 11 is adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we are adjourned. Thank you.